Turn with me this morning to Genesis chapter 20. Genesis 18, and I'll read from verse 17. 18, and I'll read from verse 17. Are we there? Are we there? And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham? Who? What I am doing? Why? Why should I hide from a man? Why did God say, should I hide from Abraham? Why should I hide from a man who I'm planting the future on? Because of what I know about him. I'm planting the future generations on him. I'm dissatisfied with the present generation. I need a new set of people that will proclaim my glory and live the way I expect them to live. And I have chosen this man, Abraham, because I know he will lead his generation in the way of the Lord. Therefore, since we'll be working together in future because of this fact that I know about him, why should I hide from him anything? God's relationship with Abraham was centered on the fact, was based on the fact, was actually informed by the need for God to form a new set of people for himself, who will give him peace, who will make him happy, who will not become a burden to him. He was tired of the present generation, the way of life. I need people that will give me peace. Let me just leave this people. Maybe if I have these people, by the way they live, others can now emulate them and change. But I need a man that can use to father such generation. And I need a man that I'm sure he will teach these children who I expect to live in a way to please me in my ways. Am I making sense to you? God was looking for someone that would teach the generation his ways, his new people, his ways. He was tired of people going and doing whatever they like, living the way they like. Am I making sense to you? Because don't forget that this was before the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. God saw no future in Sodom and Gomorrah. That was why God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. He said, I'm not seeing any future. I need somebody to start a new. This cannot go on. Am I making sense to you? Are you following me this morning? So God revealed to him. Now I want to borrow a cue from there, in the sense that majority of the responsibility of parenting lies in the hand of the man. Are you following me? Lies in the hand of the man. But can I add one other thing? Can I add one other thing? If the man is allowed by his wife, you are shaking it. Pastor, I've started again. Well, if I have life examples, even within this ministry, I think I'll be justified. Yes. Am I making sense? Yes, sir. You will notice one thing. In Abraham training Isaac, particularly when it was a crucial decision that he was to sacrifice Isaac, it was outside the knowledge of the wife. He was teaching Isaac submission to authority and to the will of God. And he knew in teaching Isaac that lesson, going by what that lesson entails, the pain it will bring on Isaac, he knew the mother would take it very personal. Like many of you mothers take the issues of when the father wants to get hard on the children, you take it very personal as if it is you. So he said he excluded the woman. And Isaac, just follow me. You just follow me. And Isaac followed JJ. Am I making sense to you? Let me tell you a story. There was this family that was going on a ship voyage. And there was a storm. And the ship was damaged. And they ended up, the storm pushed them to an island where there was no inhabitants except for wild animals. There was no way they could get a rescue. So they were forced, months after months, they were forced to live in that place. And when the father realized that there was no rescue on the way, the father said to the mother, I think we need to start teaching survival skills, knowing fully well the kind of area we are in and how there are so many wild animals around. They had a son, and the only son. I know how a son is to the mother, and being the only child. So the father would, from time to time, insist that the child must follow him to the bush to hunt and to teach him skills. But the son was lazy. And he was lazy because the mother indulged him. Was always saying, leave my son alone. He's the only one that I have. You cannot take him. Leave him. He wants to help me. So the son was capitalizing on that. Every time the father would want to take him out. And the father would say to the mother, you are destroying this child. You are not helping this child. One day I will be gone. One day you will be gone. If he doesn't learn how to survive, how would he cope in this environment? The mother says, don't worry. He will not turn to that. I know God. You always know God. Anyway, rather than teaching the child survival, the mother was teaching him nursery rhymes, believing she was doing the right thing. Not only that, he would now be reading story to him. And he would tell him how he met his father, the romance and everything, how one day you meet a woman, and he started putting things in the brain of the child, thinking he's preparing him. While the father was preparing him to face the roughness of the future, the mother was preparing him for fantasy. Something that you don't even know whether it will exist or whether you will survive that island. In the course of time, the child grew up. And then, based on the stories the mother has been telling me about romance, the child started growing likeness towards his mother, knowing fully well that a man and woman must meet. And in this island, there is only one woman, and my father and myself. So, one person has to take this woman. Before you know it, one day he saw the father and the mother in an eating position, and he said that no, he got angry that this man must go. How come he's the only one enjoying? So he started planning to kill his father. In the process, the trap he set for his father was the trap that killed him. When he died, because he didn't know how to even set the trap anyway, he was not taught. He didn't know what he wanted to, whatever. When you set a trap, there are marks that the father will put so that he will not pass the place. He didn't learn all that one. He just saw the father set trap, but he didn't know that there are some things you have to, so that you yourself don't pass that area. He had forgotten. He entered into it, and by the time the father got there, he was already dead. And he started telling the father he was sorry. He said he was sorry that he actually set the trap for him, and that it was based on what the mother had been telling him. He wanted to experience what the mother has been telling him with his mother, and he felt the only way to do so was to kill his father so that he can experience it. Now the mother started crying, and the father said to him, "Why are you crying? You killed him. You killed him because you pumped nonsense into his head." This point in time, need to ask a question. What are you pumping into the head of your children? You know, last week I spoke to you about a few weeks ago I spoke to you about how God was feeling. And I said parents should make sure that their children are in church today. I wonder how many parents that I spoke to on that day have their children in church today. Secondly, even those that I did not call out, but they know that I said it in Good Morning Jesus, that I said, "Do you think that those I called out were the only culprits?" They said no. I said, "You know." Meaning, even those that are people that I didn't call out, but they are in the same category, are their children in church today. What did God say to Abraham? He said the foundation of good parenting is based on that you teach your children in the way of the Lord. What are we doing here this morning? We want to discuss the way of the Lord. Abi?
Yes, sir.
Many of your children have disappeared in places where, in ministries where they don't even know that they exist. They are doing whatever they like. The minister of God does not see eyes on them. There is no way he can place a check on them. Am I making sense to you? So how can they be trained in the way of the Lord? Now, recently, I came across a letter from the vice chancellor of a university. He wrote it to the parents of the students of that university. He first told them that they have privilege, that they are privileged to have their children. Sorry, he told them the privilege of having the opportunity to interact with him first as a VC. He told the parents that they have, he told them that it was a privilege that they have interaction with him. And he said to them, but that privilege will be withdrawn because it has been abused. He said because the parents have been sending messages against him and against the school policies over matters that involve students' discipline, student morals, and long established rules. Their children just joined the university today, and they now want them to cancel the rules because of their children rules that have been long established before their children that just entered today. He asked a question. He said, how many of these parents today, their own parents, have the privilege of interacting with their VCs, with their children's VCs? I can't recall one time that my father or my mother had the privilege to walk straight to my student of higher learning or even secondary school to say, I even want to, because in those days, teachers are revered. They are revered. The principal, the institution of learning, they are given great respect. In fact, rather, you cannot say your teacher wants to see your parents, you are dead. It's an abomination for your father to be sent for by the school You are dead in the house. Meaning your parents itself, it's not something that they look forward to, that they want to go to. They don't even pray for such instance. They will tell you, I never prayed that one day I will come to your school to come and talk to your principal or your teacher about your behavior. It is part of their prayer. But today it's a totally different thing entirely. Am I making sense to you? Now, he said parents have decided to send their children to the university, believing that they will get good education and sound morals. He said the discipline in that university is not even as severe as that of some sister Christian universities, which are oversubscribed with students. The first key issues he raised had to do with the resumption of students. They were told to resume at a particular date and a particular time. They came when they liked. So the school locked them out for a while. The parents came and started shouting, how dare you lock our children out? If they come late, is it not our money? Eshere odara, eshere odara, ẹ̀yin táyé kan, eshere. These parents disobey rules. They set examples for their children and expect special treatment just because they paid school fees. Feeling of entitlement. The second issue was about the student who committed sexual immorality and who confessed in writing with 2 female students that they actually did it in the classroom. He was suspended pending a trial. Then the parents of that student came marching into the school, not only to abuse the VC and the lecturers, but also to sue the school. This is a current event. And they post insults against the university. They failed to even consider that the 2 girls that were raped are parents, are children of another parent. It doesn't concern them. You know, sometimes I've had issues like that when parents give judgment on matters, little did they even consider that the second person involved, when it's about their child, another person, that this other person too has a parent too. The only concern is their own. Are you following me this morning? These students, they don't attend lecture. These students, they don't observe library rules. They just do whatever they like. So he said, but despite the fact that when they talk, the parents will come and start shouting. So he said, enough is enough. He said, if you find it difficult to abide with the rules and regulations of this school, please, you are welcome to withdraw your children. We cannot be told how to do our job. If you give us your children to train, you must trust us enough to know how best to train them. He was forced to write this open letter to the parents. Now, in my experience today as a servant of God, many children have become unreachable because of their parents. or because of their parents' influence on them. And in most cases, I'm sorry, it is the mothers. In most cases. When you see a child with good morals and doing well, most times it's because the mother have chosen to cooperate with the father in the way of bringing the child up properly. Without that cooperation, no matter the effort of the father, except you want to break the house down, the child, trying to bring that child up properly will almost become impossible, for as long as he's still receiving pardon or pat on the back from the mother. Am I making sense to you? I want to say this to you this morning, mothers. I want you to recall the story of Esau and Jacob carefully. Rachel wanted to do the work of God. Many of you mothers have decided to do God's work for him. You are now allowing God to do his work. I'm coming to fathers though. Because in your mind you are already thinking that I'm just mentioning mothers. I'm coming to that. The mother, on hearing that their father was about to bless Esau, told Jacob, this is what your father is about to do. Go and steal your brother's birthright. That's what he told her. Go and steal. The son said, my father will kill me. In other words, the son had some level of fear and respect for his father before the mother trivialized it and trashed it to be nothing. Which fear, which respect. Don't worry, nothing will happen. Let it be on me. So when you see a child sometimes doing like this to his father, most times he has the backing of the mother. Like I told you, just take, if it is true, just take it. Don't say that's just it. Am I making sense to you? When the prophet of Baal were shouting and they were saying that they would kill Elijah, it was because they had the backing of Baal. They believed they had the backing of Baal. When you see somebody threatening and doing like this and say, what can you do? That person must have a backing. And in a home, is either the backing of the father or the backing of the mother. In this case, Jacob would not have done what the mother told him to do for the fear of the father, but because the mother was backing him to the point he says, whatever happens, let it happen unto me. Jacob went ahead and did and stole his brother's birthright, which earned him trouble. And the mother had to say, run for your life, because your brother will kill you. And I'm wondering, what sort of love can you have for a child to the point of indirectly destroying him without you knowing? Many of the things you call love today is destruction. Am I making sense to you? You will notice I'm not talking like an angry person this morning. I'm humbled. I'm just playing humility, just humble. Because I want you to understand the message and not take it personal as if I'm fighting you. Are you following me this morning? Hey, Rachel knew, he didn't understand though, that little did she realize that she was causing her future and creating generational problems. She didn't realize it. Oh yeah, go. No. Go to my uncle and stay with my brother, Laban. Rachel thought probably within the next 2, 3 years, 4 years, Esau will come down, Jacob will come back. She did not set her eyes on Jacob till she died. She did not set her eyes again on Jacob till she died. I need you to understand something. Ó ṣiṣẹ́ sílẹ̀ kò dúró jèrè ẹ̀. She worked hard, but she did not reap the benefits. Did she live to see the blessings of Jacob? No. Did she live to see the children of Jacob? No. At the end of the day, God still did what he planned to do. It wasn't by her help. Stop trying to help God in the name of I love my son, I love my daughter. Are you the only one that will force to have children? If I didn't have children, I'm sure some of you will have said it's because I don't have children. God just give our pastor a child so that he will leave us alone. This is not having children, it's making him to talk the way he's talking. Because whatever I say, you will look for one lack in my life to justify that is the reason why I'm saying it. It's because he lacked this, that's why he's talking about this. If it's possible for you, you say I shouldn't even talk again. That will be the day. I'm not just talking about this. I can give various instances. We have fathers have come to me and have reported mothers about the way they are treating, how they are not helping him to train their children. Abisa, am I right? So let me talk to her. We cannot train one child and it will become two. Am I right, sir? Several instances. And a child is not doing well. Let us train this child. You travel, you are buying the whole load of suitcase of clothes for the child. How will the child change? We were not trained that way. And certainly you, the mother, most probably you were not trained that way. Many of you, when it comes to other people's children, you can train because you know how to train. But when it comes to your own children, zero. That's the honest truth. But you know, it didn't start in this generation. It started a long time ago. Only that time, our parents were wise. In those days, when my mother realized that I'm a bit emotional towards this, she said, go and live with my sister. Because he knows she's weak where we are concerned. But our sisters will not. And then our own sister will send our own children to come and live with her. They helped one another. They saw the weakness in each other and helped one another to conquer the weakness. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it didn't just start with you. One day, a mother brought a case to us in church, elders meeting. He mentioned it to me, and I said, okay, all right, we'll discuss in the elders meeting. And she told the story about the problem within the father and the child, how they were not doing well and everything. And then she made the statement to say, in fact, I'm the one holding my son down. He will have fought his father. We say, what are you promising to this guy? Said, what can the father have done that the son will have the audacity to say he wants to confront his father and beg his father, or even you have to just take it easy. God will fight. Shut. But God will vindicate you. You just don't worry. Just leave him. God will deliver this man from us. How can a boy be hearing that and still respect his father? Tell me. How can a boy be hearing that and still listen to his father? Eshere Godara, Eshere Godara, ẹ̀yin táyé kan, Eshere, Eshere Godara, Eshere Godara, ẹ̀yin tá gbáyé lọ́wọ́, ẹjọ́ Eshere. Are you following me this? The frustration of many fathers today is the fact that their parents, their mother, their wife is not allowing them to train the children. The children more or less today defer to the mother rather than listening to the father. Why do you think God gave you fathers? And why do you think God made the fathers the head of the home? Am I making sense to you this morning? If you're hearing me, shout hallelujah. Hallelujah. Before I forget, one of the things you need to understand as a woman is that your power over your child ends most of the time once your child becomes a teenager. Okay? By the time the child enters university or grow up, come out of university, he has become your orisha, your idol. And Bowang Okomi, Oloworimi. They become idol to you. You are no longer effective as you used to be when they were young in their training. At that point in time, that's when the father's control is very important. But even at that time, you don't want to relinquish power. You like to hold on to power. It is still my own. I'm still the one. It's amazing that when it comes to everything, we're always saying this one belongs to me, that one belongs to me. Even in children, we want to say this one is my own, that one is your own. Am I making sense to you? Glory be to the name of God. In one of my daughter's school in the choir, the parents actually told the school, you cannot kill our children. No. You cannot torture our children. They are the ones that roll the rules for the school. Because they are the one paying. The money. In another school in Victoria Land, today, there is an ongoing fight between the parents and the teachers, in the sense that the parents are insisting that they are free to enter into the dorm, they are free to do whatever they like at any given point in time, and the school should not be able to stop them because after all, it is their money. Please tell me, what kind of future are we making for our children? In one of our house fellowships, a father reported the child, his son, for beating him. Actually beat his father. Some of you are wondering, and this is a very strange thing, but I'm telling you, beloved, to some people, even though the son has not lifted his hand to do like that, but he has done something close to that already. Wọ́n ní wọ́n lè bú àgbà kò dìgbà tó bá ṣe fọ́ létí. Some children are doing that to their, it's more like slapping their father. And the mother has something to say to it. He's not the father, It's not because he too is not, if he has been paying their children's school fees, if children don't respect him. In those days, our mother covers for our father. Are you the only one? Do you know how many times your own mother covered for your father? Is it because your mother did not tell you? Now you are doing for your husband, you are now saying, you till then, no, come and say, I'm the one paying your school fees, so I'm the one doing this, so I'm the one. But Alade told us a story one time of his friend. The father had a situation, business went down, and the mother had to be paying the school fees. But the children were wondering, how is this man getting money? So one day the first son had not slept. Middle of the night, when the mother came and was counting money, this is for this person's school fees, this is for that one's school fees, this is how much I'm able to make today, I'll add more tomorrow, so maybe you take it and go and give the school fees. The mother knelt down, the father prayed for him. The following day, the son now went to the mother. I saw you are the one that's been giving that man money to pay our school fees, and yet he'll be beating us. So he's not even the one paying our school fees. The mother said, how did you know? He said, I had everything yesterday now. He was expecting the mother to say, okay, no. To feel, you see it as a thing of pride. You want to use it as a thing of pride and to gain approval, to gain, I don't know what you're using it to gain from your child. You are destroying them. I'm trying not to get angry. What are you doing? You are destroying them. You are destroying them for your tomorrow, for you yourself. Because when this madness hits them fully, they will display it to you as well. Am I saying the truth? So the mother said, oh, so you heard? He said, okay, yes. The mother now said, he stripped herself naked. The son was wondering, what is it that you want to do? He said, the day I hear you say this out, or you use it to behave to your father, I will cause you to death. In other words, whatever I do for your father, whatever happens between me and your father, however we cover ourselves, is none of your business. As far as he's concerned, you are concerned, that is your father. Eshere kodara, eshere kodara, ẹ̀yin táyé kan, eshere. Kí ni Bible pé? What did the Bible call it when you are marrying? He said you are helpmates. Don't you know it is during that period that you are supposed to come out to help? Is it not part of the things you signed for when you went into marriage? How are you not making a big deal out of it? The man never did, Abi. Even if he did not do, at least he did to produce the child. Abi? Even if he did not do, at least he did to bring the child. The child that you are bragging over today, if the man had not done, you would not have brought that child. Choton. Brothers, I'm not trying to, don't think I'm trying to encourage laziness or you feeling your responsibilities. I'm just still talking facts now. Am I making sense to you this morning? So when this child beat his father, the head of the household said, what? Give me cane, and beat the child. Thinking that they should be helpful, grateful. Only for the next time, he didn't see them in fellowship again. What happened? He said, the father said, that day after you beat my son, you didn't beat him in love. My wife told me you didn't beat him in love. The way you beat him, that's why you stopped coming to house fellowship. And from then they stopped coming to church. Sometimes when you hear the reason why some people coming to church, honestly speaking, I wonder why I want to kill myself at times. Because by the time you hear the reason, you say, is it the reason why I'm killing myself over these people? It's not worth it. Truly. One will just die for nothing. Am I making sense to you? Thank God that one even told you the truth why she stopped coming. Because some of them they will not even say. They will look for another story. So the sister, you mean that is the reason? Okay, sorry, bye-bye. Few weeks ago, he saw the man. He don't suffer well. Say, How are you like this? Say, if you know how those people don't suffer. Me say, which people? Say, my wife and my children now. They don't talk, they still they talk, now so then they beat you anyhow and they say, hey, I thought you said that I didn't beat in love. Say, I'm sorry. I don't know how I'm going to face pastor now. Because pastor will say I be woman rapper, I follow woman. Today the man is suffering it. Tomorrow, that boy will use leg to kick his mother off the bed. It's not a cause, it's a fact. Are you following me this morning? Recently, one of my daughters was telling me in church. She called her house girl. Why have you not swept that place? The girl said, because the children keeps dirtying it, so I want to take time before I sweep again. So when her daughter, who is a member of this church, went to visit her, she said, can you imagine that this girl did not sweep the compound? And I've told her, and she said she's waiting some time. So she now called the house girl. But why didn't you sweep the compound? The girl said, I explained to mommy, every time the children would dirty it, the grandchildren would dirty it. So I said, okay, let me give it some time before I sweep, because I said they deliberately go to dirty it. So the woman said, these are children that are over 7, 8, 9. Why don't you beat them? Tell them no. Say, Mama said I must not touch them more. I can't touch them more. I can't touch them more. They are her children. No. So she don't want to beat her mother. She said this is the reason. And that if she tries to train the children, you say she should not touch them. The mother said, yes. It's not my money. Am I not paying her? It's not her job to sweep every time. You say house girl inflicts wickedness on your child. Yeah, it's not inflicting wickedness. So it is the wickedness that you created, you brought out of her. When you treat people as if they are not human beings because you pay them, they work for their money, they still deserve the respect. It does not remove the fact that they're human beings, whether they are your house help or your driver. And some of you, even when they work for you, you see them as your house girl for life. Even after they've let you for years, you still be calling them your boy, your girl. When they have their family, you are still calling them. You have a very bad culture in this country. Abroad, regardless of whatever you do, you are treated and respected first and foremost as a human being, not based on what you do for them or the kind of profession or the salary you earn or whatever. But this country will look down on everybody, and that's what we are teaching our children to follow. So the grandmother was already looking down on the house girl. Tell me, how will the grandchildren not looking at, how would they listen to the house girl? But the question I want to ask is this: were we raised that way? No. And you're down when you come also. Were we raised that way? In those days, the house help is Lord. When the mother is not in, she becomes the authority. Whatever she says goes. We never saw her as anything but auntie. We don't call house girls by name. Auntie this, sister that. Today, children, Tinker, John, I want tea. I don't want this one. Take it away. I tell you I don't want this one. No, what is the problem? I tell you I don't want this one. Okay, you go and do whatever they want. Eh? You will pick it from the floor, you will chop it. Are you following me this morning? A house girl. See, people that you leave your children for. You see, some of you are very funny. I must say, you are funny. When you bring your house girls to church with your children, you insist that they stay with them in children's church. Even in children's church, they are not safe, have you? You've forgotten that we have parents who are manning children's church. Some of them are grandmothers. They must stay with them. As what? Bodyguard, Abi? Left to these children, they are ready to do the right thing. No? Yes. Few weeks ago, a grandmother brought her grandchildren to church with the nanny, and they were in children's church. And we noticed the nanny was with them. So they told the nanny, "What are you doing here? Go to the main church." Why? Most of these people you are bringing as nanny, do you know their foundation? Do you know the spirit that is in them? You now have an opportunity to bring them to church where you think the word of God might even touch them. You went to hide them in the children's church, where the power of God, the fire of God cannot touch them. Instead of you to use somebody to bring them to church, you see, say you're going to be doing nanny there, then you are sitting down here. So we told the girl, go to the main church. So she came to the main church. But she kept on coming to check. I don't want to enter trouble though. Let me go to check. As he was going to check, the grandmother too was going to check. So at the point in time, one of the ushers who was very close to her laughed and said to her, when you are not at home, or when the parents of the children are in, is this how they go to be checking from office to? Because right here, this is student church, you are here, you are going up and down. Am I making sense to you? Ó rò gbọ́dọ̀ mú wọn. Wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ lágùn. Ẹ fẹ́ lé nìkan máa ké pàápàá. Tó bá ké wọn gbé fún yín lọ hospital. So the child was seated. So after the husband had left, they noticed that the child, they actually had put 2 seats for the child. Meanwhile, the other children were seated on the mat. Of course, the head of the children's church said, first of all, remove the chair. Children, be like your others. Join them. So they came and sat on the mat. We teach them like Tales by Moonlight story. That's how we teach them in children's church of that age. Age 2, 3, thereabout. The children sat down. Now I want to show you a beauty. The children saw that all the other children that sat down had removed their shoes before they entered the mat. They went with the shoes. Nobody told them. They went to meet the teacher. Auntie, can you remove my shoe? Meaning, if these children were given the rights, if they are encouraged, they are ready to do the right thing. Kilomodemo. You are the one pumping this nonsense into their heads, and then they grow up and start acting that way. That is what I owe you. I know I'm becoming less popular with you every day. I know more and more you are just managing to tolerate me. But, well, I will still continue to say what I'm saying, because this is what God expects me to say. And the truth of the matter is that I report to him alone. I don't report to any one of you. And I'm afraid for my heaven than I'm afraid for you. A nanny was caught. She didn't know. Took the toothbrush, used it on, and then used it to wash the mouth of the child, saying, the pain your parents are inflicting on me, I will inflict it on you. When you are doing it, you realize, when you are treating them like ordinary people, useless people, you didn't know that they will carry out the wickedness you are breathing in them. They must experience it on somebody, and they will start with your own children. You think our parents were stupid in those days when they will say we must submit to them? Because they understand the implication and what they are capable to do. They know that when they are not there, we were raised to respect those who were brought into the house herself. This is what you find in the Western world. Even in the Western world, the children of the rich, they don't talk anyhow. It's only those trash people, and of course we always copy the trash. Like the sagging of trousers is from the prison. We emulate it. And we go to that country. It told Mamu. I was discussing with a parent on certain issues that has to do with respecting servants of God. And she said something to me that she does not like it because one point I was talking about who is a Christian, and I was talking about how some people treat their servants of God without respect, but how they treat their boss with respect. When it comes to their bosses, they respect them. When it comes to the servants of God, and this is a new trend. It did not happen during our own days. Servant of God. You want to shake, you shake at your finger. You can't even shake. When they say bring your hand, you say, okay, sir. Your parents will even be looking at you whether you will raise your hand if they born you well. Come on to my leg. So I was discussing with her. She said, well, me, I don't believe in it because nowadays the way they just idolize servants of God. So I said, what do you mean by idolize? I said, what some people call idolization is what some people call respect and honor. Is respect and what? She said, She said, okay, show me in the Bible where it is written. The Bible says you should respect your father and your mother. The Bible never says that you should respect your servant of God and honor them. So I took her to 1 Timothy 5:17. And he said, let the elders who rule well be considered worthy of double honor. Like the servants of God who administer well, who minister to you well, be considered for double honor. In other words, double what you give your parents. Double what you give anybody, give it to them. Especially those who labor in preaching and teaching. Give them double honor. That including you, the mother, before we even talk about your child. Double honor. But when you, the mother self, have issue about honoring servants of God because you think, how can I be? How will your child do it? It's all part of giving them false sense of self-worth. They will go out in the society and they will never honor anybody. In 1 Thessalonians 5:12-13, it says, we ask you, brothers, to respect those who labor among you and are over you in the Lord, and admonish you to esteem them very highly in love because of their work. Be at peace among yourselves. In Hebrews 13:17 it says, obey your leaders and submit to them, for they are keeping watch over you, over your souls. So those who will have to give an account, let them do this with joy and not with groaning, for that will be of no advantage to you. Don't let them do this job in pain, because it's of no advantage to you. If I minister to you in pain, it doesn't benefit you in any way. Now, most of the people accusing that most of the people that accuse people of idolizing servants of God, most of them are women. Most of them are women. And it's because they don't have the right understanding, or they don't know the true meaning of the words respect and honor. In boarding schools in England, and even here, back in the days, the students were trained to highly respect their teachers as well as their seniors. In some schools, when a student is walking down a corridor and a teacher or even a senior is coming from the opposite side of the same corridor, the student is expected to stop and stand still while the teacher passes. This is done out of respect. It is not called idolizing, it is respect. But when you do it for your servant of God, your servant is coming, and pastor is coming, and you say like this, why is it not pastor? Why you? Pastor Madaron. You make the job very uninteresting. You make the job as if it's the job of someone that is in fact, if you are you can treat them like your slave or your house girl. It was never like that in those days. Today things have become very bad, and when the Son of God is trying to bring that order, you say he wants you to idolize him. Is it too much to ask if somebody does that for a servant of God? The same people that complain about people idolizing servants of God, they always want to demand respect. They will not say to tell some people younger than them that they must give them their due respect. You hear them say things like, do you think that this gray hair on my head is decoration? They will even go as far as educating you on tradition and how tradition demands respect. Some of the traditions they are talking about requires that people of greeting them must literally bow down, with women going down on both knees to greet their elders, while the men fully prostrate. But does this respect honor of elders mean that they are idolizing them? No. When people pay visit to traditional leaders, depending on the culture, they cannot even stand in the presence of the king or look at the face while they are being addressed. Again, does this respect and honor of traditional leaders mean that they are idolizing the traditional leaders? Meanwhile, the same people will not take time to read about tradition of how the priests that served in the God's temples were highly respected and revered, and even pay attention to some of the scriptures that we read earlier. Now, these same people, when they are being shown respect as culture dictates, they are happy. They don't see it as idolization. But when it is given to another person other than them, why are you idolizing him? Why are you idolizing him? I have some parents in church today. I'm telling you, it's that bad. One time, there was a particular son of mine. It was as if he was daring me. I actually noticed. I thought I was the only one that noticed it. He will be walking, I will be walking. And he will be like he will be daring me. And he will look at me and daring me that he will not bow down to greet me. Just say, good morning, sir. I noticed it the first time. He was daring me that I will do it. Let me do it and say that I will get away with it. I will get away with it. What can he do? He did it the second time. Before I was able to talk on the third time, somebody in the church was now discussing how the youths have become today. And he gave an example of this child, this son. He said, that's how this person, nowadays, he'll be looking at you face to face to see whether you are the one that will greet him first. It was then and now. So what I was noticing is real. So I waited for him the third time. As he was passing me, I was ready. And he just passed. I say, if I slap you, if I give you dirty slap, you will fall. My child is older than you. So if it's by birth, motivate. How dare you? You walk by me and you say, from where to where? What has entered into you? But because the child has been told, you don't need to idolize anybody. Even pastor, you don't need to. But you have to just say good morning. After all, even me, your father. You don't. Hey, that's your father. God says you give me your extra father, the father to your father, double honor. So if you give your father one honor, morning, sir, and you want to give me double honor, you shout a glorious hallelujah. I told you about the woman that abused her mother-in-law. And it's so sad that many women supported her. What was that woman doing there herself? That's why I don't even want to have mother-in-law. I would prefer that mother-in-law is dead before I marry the man. Eburu. And they forgot that they too are going to become mother-in-law one day. Àtòrí láyé jẹ́ tó bá fi síwájú a tún fi sẹ́yìn ní. It's a fact. One of the things we noticed about the video is also cleanliness. People started noticing that the place was not clean, the house was not clean, the environment was not clean, the lady littered everything all over the place. And some of the ladies were still even justifying. Why would they not justify? Because even in their own house presently, they don't do anything. It is the house girl that does everything. It's all part of the training we are talking about. Train your child so that that child can be useful for you tomorrow. Am I making sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Your children are part of your investments for your tomorrow. But that is if you invest wisely in them. Are you following me this morning?
Yes, sir.
Many are still claiming righteousness when they are not supposed to be claiming righteousness. Many are still claiming victims of situations when indeed they are the cause of the problem they found themselves. Many of you will say, oh, well, I know myself. Like I passed some messages the other day on Psalm 139 verses 23 and 24. It says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Point out anything in me that offends you and lead me along the path of everlasting life. When some people received it, they said, well, that's me, my own heart is good towards everybody. Me, I'm not even. Supposing your heart is deceiving you. Supposing you think you are good and you are really, really bad. Why don't you allow God to search and point to you? Many of you this morning might think you are actually doing a good job with your children. But when you come to the arithmetic of God, you are a failure. Why don't you ask God to open your eyes to what you are doing wrong this morning and stop thinking I'm better? Because some of you, even as I'm teaching today, some of you are already saying, me, I'm better. I know Pastor is not referring to me because who told you so? You are the first person I'm referring to. Am I making sense to you? He who has ears, let him hear what the Spirit of God is saying. Jeremiah 17:9. He says that the heart of man is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? It's desperately wicked. Considering this, we have no need to refer to any particular sin. Sin is sin. We must also consider the fact that the heart is deceitful. So it's supposed that our hearts may be deceiving us, thinking we are doing the right thing, meanwhile we are doing the wrong thing. Everyone this morning must submit his heart to God for purging. God, purge me and show me where I'm missing it, where I'm not doing what you expect me to do. Am I making sense to you? As a son, as a daughter, as a parent, we all need to do that assessment this morning. The Bible says that trusted in his own heart is a fool. For who that is wise would trust one who he knows to be desperately wicked? If you are wise, why would you trust in a heart that says it's desperately wicked? I spoke about the character traits of a fake Christian, like I said, and I said one of the things I mentioned is that they fear and respect their boss than their pastor, and even son more than God. And that was where the argument came that what do you mean? Idolizing. Now my question is this. For such a woman that talks this way, even after putting that scriptures to her, imagine what she'll be pumping to the head of her children. Can she pump respect? Can she pump honor? Am I making sense to you? And it doesn't just start, it will be to everybody. Mostly children that are like that, they are not just, before they become rude to the sound of God, they are first rude to every other person in church. Am I lying? Am I lying? So this morning, beloved, there is need for everybody to check themselves. There is need for a child to check himself. There is need for a parent to check themselves. The problems we are having in future today, the problem we are having in this country today, is as a result of bad parenting, because the people that are in governorship today, or people that are in establishments today, are trained by one parent, and it is what they put in them that they are exhibiting. Am I saying the truth? So if the future is to become better, we need to address this matter now. This is not about the enemy. This is about what we have failed to do, what we are supposed to do that we fail to do. If you're hearing me, shout hallelujah. You see, God sometimes calls some people fools because they don't know what they are supposed to do. And right now, even as you are hearing this message, do you know that you could be your own worst enemy? You may be fighting actively against yourself, but one thing is certain: malfunctioning in anybody's life is not God's fault. People don't like facing the truth. A lot of people have turned themselves to masquerades. They are the one pursuing themselves. How long will you run away from yourself? When will you stand up and acknowledge the truth about yourself? Acknowledge the truth about yourself is the first step in the school of spiritual maturity. For how long will you repeat the mistake of Adam? Repeat the mistake of Adam. Adam did not take responsibility for his sin, and instead he said, "The wife thou gavest me, she gave to me, and I did eat." Coming back to the men now. Many of you have now decided that, well, it is the wife. She's the one. I tried my best. But since she's that excuse will not be tenable in the sight of God, though. It will not what? Be tenable in God's sight. Because God will say to you, "Who did I make the head?" Am I making sense to you? So it's time, beloved, that even as man, you assume your responsibilities. Let me tell you something, beloved. It is not just money that you use to be a husband. Because some people say it's because I don't have money. You can earn your respect without money. You don't use money to buy your respect. You earn respect. You don't buy it. If you're a father, there is a way you must behave that will make your children to respect you. I was told of a situation of a man that the wife packed everything and took everything away and even swept the floor. She took everything and even swept the floor to ensure that there was nothing left. And when it was time for her to go, she told her children, "Let us go." The children said, "We are not going with you." That even if it is for our house to be sleeping on the floor with our father, we remain with our father. It's been over a year now. They are sleeping on the floor with their father. The man earned the respect. It is not about money. It's about what you earn. Am I making sense to you? Stop blaming it on the fact that you don't have money. Wake up to your responsibilities. Am I making sense to you? Wake up to your responsibilities. There is that day in Yoruba. Brother. Because I want to eat cow. I will not be calling cow brother cow. Am I making sense to you? We need to wake up to our responsibilities. We need to lead by good examples. We need to be disciplined. Our children are watching us. They are going to emulate the things we do more than the things we say. Are you following me this morning? If you're hearing me, shout hallelujah. Hallelujah. In the passage I gave to you last week concerning the prodigal son, there was something that I noticed there which was very interesting. Very, very interesting. But before I talk about that passage, there is something I would like to bring out here, which is something that is would lead to that, and some of the things that have been worrying me. But before I talk about that, let me say this. God trusted Abraham because he believed Abraham will raise his children in a godly way. Talking about you men. I want you to know as a man that you will account to God on everyone that God has placed under you as the head. You will account to him. And you will not, no excuse will be tenable or will be acceptable by him for your children's failure to live right. Am I making sense to you? For the children, your parents are living their lives. They are living their lives. So they will leave you one day. And when that day comes, who do you run to? Who do you what? Because today, any small thing, you run to your mommy, my teacher. And then your mommy will carry bag. I'm coming to your school. But teacher. They carried that one from secondary school now, from primary to secondary, from secondary, they have not carried it to university. But when your parents are gone, when you are not married, and you think they'll be there forever, your husband's house is another place of learning. You start another lecture, another school. Who will you run to? Whether you are a man or a woman, because I know some men that run to their mothers in their marriage. Mommy, she did this. Mommy, she abused me. They are laughing. I recall one time ago, long time ago, I went to meet my mother and I just got married. And the woman I married gave me a dirty slap. And I went to mommy, said, Mommy, oh, there's a formulating tossing, there's a formulating. He just slapped me. My mother looked at me like this. Can't be more there. Who gave back to a fool? What is she from the hospital? I never went back to report again. Am I making sense to you? She's gone now. Even if I was into reporting, who will I go and report to now? So for those of you see what I'm saying, I need you to listen to me carefully, because you may think I'm just talking. This is something that I also have experienced. So learn from me. Are you following me this morning? If you are hearing, shout hallelujah. You will account to God, parents, and to the children. I noticed one thing. There are some children that, for as long as their parents are alive, they are impossible to reach, because they will keep running back to mommy, and mommy will come and bail them out. Mommy, Pastor, omoyin ni Dolapo. Como Dolapo ni Dolapo, and I've been saying her, sweet mother. Dolapo has gone to do face for her at home. Kilo to share. Now daddy ni. Okay. Buy me to one of the phone. And then she will call me, Pastor, hey, Dolapo, hey, come. And for years, I was trying to reach. But one day, did mommy not go? And mommy left down. Oh, I came at the Dolapo Nikon. And I said, okay, she won't nothing. Oh, yeah, it's my salon by. And I put the fire, bam! All of you knew when I was putting the fire. But she's a different Dolapo now. If the mother were to be alive today, who will be enjoying her? Should be the one enjoying. Am I making sense to you? I learned one thing in life. If you are emotional and sentimental, you cannot be the best for yourself, neither can you be the best for anyone. if you don't learn how to manage it. You must know where to draw the line. Are you following me this morning? You must know what? Where to draw the line. So children, your parents have lived their lives and they are living their lives. When the children of Israel complained about not going into the promised land after the report of the spies, God told them in Numbers 14:29, your carcass shall fall in this wilderness, and not all of it that were numbered you according to your whole number. From 20 years old upward, which have murmured against me. From 20 years old, you will account to God by yourself. You can no longer continue to blame mommy and daddy, because from 20 years, the Bible says you are now what? An adult. Give yourself a rebirth. Now that you know the truth, let the truth set you free. Many of you, the truth that you know today about the scriptures, your parents didn't even know 1/4 of it. Now that you know, you cannot come and continue to blame your parents. So the story of the prodigal son, the Bible says the prodigal son, he came to a point that he came to his senses and he said, I think I need to return back to my father. Even if it's going to be a slave, at least let me go back. Children, those of you who have had false sense of self-worth, who have been pumped different things into your head from youth, and who somehow along the line has been affecting your life, now it's time for you to come back to your senses. It's time. You see, let me also tell you, for those of you children, because it's not all of you that are not being told. Let me give it to some parents. Some parents actually told their children. They were good with their children. They trained them. And these children were good up to the point that they went into the university or they started working. It was when they went out that they started mixing with different people who started pumping different things into their heads. The kind of friends that you keep will determine how your life will turn out. The kind of friend that you keep. Are you keeping friends that will sharpen you, that will bring the best out of you, or you are keeping friends that will dull your sharpness? Am I making sense to you? Are your friends in the world, or are your friends in Christ? Because some of them, the parents did their good job on them, but they went out and mixed with the wrong people, and that's how they became the way they are. You need to blow yourself brain this morning, because you are the future. Without you, there is no future. God is counting on you that for tomorrow, if you fail God now, then there's no reason why God should continue to worry about tomorrow. The world might as well just come to an end now. And I'll tell you, beloved, the way the youth of today is going, they are failing God by second. Are you following me? One of the things we notice about the children of today is that they always assume that they know. I know. It is my life. I can live it. Let me make my own mistake. Say, you make your own mistake. Can I say to my father in those days, you made your own mistake? Mama, let me do my how? Is it possible? How? Am I making sense to you? How? Too many things are responsible today. One of the reasons is because too much money is made available to the children to handle. At a very early age, they graduated. In those days, before we entered secondary school, we put our hand like this, your hand must touch. Before you enter primary school. Today, even at age 3, they want the child to start primary 1. And the child finishes on time. And at a very immature age, she's already earning good salary. He's already earning good salary. When you put too much money in the hands of someone that is immature, it will scatter his brain. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Too many factors are responsible. But you see, even if you cannot help the system of the world that encourages this fast growth, at least let us soak our children in the word of God so that the word of God can guide them. When they have the word of God in them, even if they're making money, the word of God is enough to pilot them and guide them in the right path, to keep them humble. But without the word of God, and all this thing is going on in the world, we are looking for destruction. Am I making sense to you this morning? That's why your children needed to be in the Lord. That's why your children must hear the word of God. That's why you need to spend quality time feeding your children with the word of God. Letting them understand the importance of the word of God. God will not put too much money in anybody's hand that is not matured. God blesses us according to what we can handle. He won't give to you what you cannot handle. The same way he will not give you affliction that you cannot handle. Am I making sense to us this morning? You see, bottom line is that God loves us so much. He loves us so much, and he wants us to live by his ways so that our tomorrow can be good. He expects our parents to teach us by his ways. That's why he told Abraham, I know you will teach them in accordance to the way of the Lord. The same thing, God wants the children to walk by his ways. When we walk by God's ways, many of the problems we are calling about today will not be there anymore. Are you following this morning? So today, we want to talk to God first as parents. We want to talk to God as children. The first thing we want to do is to ask God for his mercy. For every time we have failed in his expectations concerning us, as parents and as children. Because don't forget that once you are over 20, you are an adult. In your eye, you see yourself as a child, but in the eyes of God, you are accountable for your sins and for the mistakes of your wrongdoing. We will stand up on our feet right now. We will all stand up on our feet. We are going to pray for one another.